Hello, fellow toolboxers. Welcome to episode 307 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. What we're going to go over today is a great interview with a fellow podcaster who's in the immigration space, talking more to consumer general kind of people about the interesting aspects of global migration. And when we see, like, for example, Tom Cruise going somewhere and the work that he's doing, or all sorts of celebrities, people in the news. The podcast is called Celebrities on the Move. And you'll probably find out where podcasts are found. So you'll definitely hear it. The guest is Shai Dayan, Director of U.S. Immigration at Vialto Partners. We've also interviewed another partner there, Angelo Paparelli. You might have heard him. He was a new partner there, but Shai is working there and developing what's going to be a massive, very powerful immigration firm on the bigger side and getting really top-notch clients and top-notch businesses involved in the immigration side. So me and Shai and I talk a little about what's going on in practice and life and all this kind of stuff. So I think you're going to like that. On a side note, the immigration training program called the Marriage Immigration Law Course with Immigration Lawyers Toolbox and myself, breaking down the laws, rules, regulations over a multi-week process is running right now. But if you want to get in on it, let me know and you get some top-notch recordings where we have broken down video along with the rules, regulations, statutes, memos, etc. Just email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox or info on that. And if you're interested in learning about the E2 visa, you're not comfortable with it, you want to see how it looks, we're going to do a live session, private live session for certain members. If you want to join, email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. So I get you on that. I'm trying to get a number of people in so we can do a live session dissecting the E2 case so you get more comfortable and familiar what's possible, especially with one that's a low invested amount under $100,000, which are pretty much all the E2 cases I handle are all under $1,000. Having said that, I also want to thank a great sponsor that we have, which y'all know, Serenade, and their product e-immigration, a modern practice management software for immigration-focused legal professionals like yourself to manage your cases, clients, forms, billing, and much more. It's great software. It's trusted by tens of thousands of happy attorneys and paralegals who use it to save many hours. They've been reviewed by Capterra, and so they've been put as most likely to recommend, best support, ease of use, a lot of other good things, a handful of other awards. But it's worth mentioning what really separates them, the immigration that is from the pack, is it's comprehensive, over 100 features. These include features you might not use today, but you can sometime, like an e-filing system. E-immigration is the only platform that offers e-filing for all USCIS forms. Stop paying for multiple software and let e-immigration handle all your practice needs. Get more information and schedule a private demo today by visiting Serenade's website, calling 1-800-617-4202, or emailing them at sales@serenade.com. That's Serenade with a C. So before we get to anything we talk about is not considered individual legal guidance, but you all know that already, and leave a 5-star wherever you watch this program, and let's get it started. Hi, Shai. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hi, John. Nice to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
You got it. So for those who know, Shai is a great immigration attorney. And we're gonna go into your background stuff, but you also have done podcasts before. Your current one's called Celebrities on the Move. So is that I mean, it's not business to business, so it's like for consumers and regular people to get to understand the immigration process better.
Yeah, I'm all about trying to make immigration relatable to the average person. I think that oftentimes immigration law is not portrayed very well by the media and even people in Congress. They don't really explain immigration well. And you can see that they don't really have a great understanding of it. And immigration, let's be honest, could be dry at times, right? So the whole point of the Celebrities on the Move podcast was to try to make immigration law relatable. So what we basically do, my co-host Rekha Simpson and I, every episode we focus on a celebrity who is traveling, working in a country that they're not a national of. And we try to have a fun conversation about what kind of visa that person would need in order to live and work in the country that they're working in.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, our first episode was about Prince Harry. And we talked about, what kind of visa Prince Harry would need to be living in Southern California. And our second episode is actually coming out next week, the week of October 16th. And it's going to be about Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise shot one of the Mission Impossible movies in Dubai, and we're going to
Oh,
talk
okay.
about what kind of
I was like, Tom,
what kind of visa.
American. So it's
Yeah,
global
he's
migration.
American.
Yeah.
It's global. Yeah, we want to talk about celebrities traveling all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So putting immigration into the context of celebrities and people that others can relate to, I think is going to be interesting to get people excited about immigration and think about immigration in a different way.
You know, when you're talking about the first thing you said, like, I don't ever I don't think I've ever seen a news article, a TV show, or a movie that properly said the immigration law that they're dealing with. It's always wrong in some form or fashion. So, and then also, I was talking with a colleague, like I've so many judicial decisions, such in federal court immigration, are wrong because the clerks and justices don't understand the complexity and like the craziness really of how immigration law is formulated. So we get kind of weird decisions a lot of time. It's such a bizarre thing, but the more we do this kind of work to get the info out there, especially to regular people, it's going to help just make a better practice area because people, everyone has it where they're like anti-immigration, and then they have like a maid or a close friend who's like, well, they're different, and then they get frustrated when they fall in love with somebody who doesn't have status. Like, well, they're marrying me, I pay taxes, why can't I fix this? They're like, no, like you gotta listen to your show. Like, there's a lot more going on with these kind of visa categories.
Yeah, I mean, immigration touches everybody in America, and as the world becomes more globalized, global mobility and immigration are big topics. And to get people excited about it, to get people thinking about it, why not, try to do a podcast that's a little bit different? We have some humor in our podcast, and you definitely learn a lot also. So we're gonna be releasing Celebrities on the Move podcast once a month. It's
Mhm.
through my company, Vialto. And it's just a fun way to talk about immigration. And we're really excited about it. We've had a lot of great feedback after the first Prince Harry episode. And I think the Tom Cruise episode that's about to come out is going to make people happy, laugh, and learn.
Well, I got a scoop too. There's a rapper, his name was 21 Savage, who got busted, I think at DACA or something like that. And all of a sudden, those news reports that he got a green card, and Charles, I think it's public knowledge, Charles Cook was the attorney on it. And so he's going to be on the show in a couple weeks. But that would probably be a good one. He's going to talk to the extent that he can about what the category was that got him a green card. But
Wow,
I think the guy was on
that's
ESTA too,
great.
so I'm not sure how that all worked out. But
Yeah,
all I know
yeah,
is
we're
anecdotal. I haven't talked with him about it.
yeah, we're going to be talking about musicians. We're going to be talking about actors, sports stars. There's going to be celebrities from all over the world. Eventually, we're going to be doing an episode on Lionel Messi, who's currently
Nice.
playing, for Inter Miami. So we're going to do a lot of interesting episodes about a lot of interesting people that people can relate to.
Messi, that's got to be the easiest EB1A ever. I'm 140 to
We're
follow.
gonna we're gonna talk about all the options there. I mean, yeah, he's probably the greatest player in the history of the sport. So I don't think he had too many issues getting a visa
For
to
sure.
play in the U.S.
So
Yeah,
you mentioned Vialto Partners, which is a big deal. This is, going back to the business and our field of immigration. Could you talk about I guess how you got into immigration first, and then talk about what Vialto Partner is and how it's developed because it's a whole thing, and you're a growing company that's really going to be a big player in the immigration space. So I want people to know the name. So I already interviewed Angelo Paparelli, who's also a partner at that firm. But why don't you fill us in? How did you got involved in law, and then your path to Vialto and everything? What they're doing?
yeah, it's a good question. So I guess ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a lawyer. I actually the funny thing is I saw the movie A Few Good Men when I was a kid, starring Tom Cruise actually, and I thought, wow, that's a cool profession. Look at him go in the court. And I thought, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be a lawyer. So I was inspired, I think, by A Few Good Men. And let's be honest, my people, they are known to be lawyers. So I went to law school, and when I was in law school, I didn't have any aspirations of becoming an immigration lawyer. It wasn't something that I was thinking about. I was thinking of doing real estate law, corporate law, or something like
Yeah.
that. And
What year did you graduate?
I,
That was my plan. So you must have
I
been the early 2000s guy.
I graduated New York Law School in 2006.
Okay, there, yeah.
And when I was in law school, I was working for a real estate firm, and I thought I was going to be a real estate lawyer, real estate, transactions and things like that. It just didn't happen. After I graduated law school, the firm that I was working for wasn't able to offer me a position. So I was doing all kinds of temp work in the beginning when I first graduated law school. And I ended up working for a luxury brand in New York. I'm a native New Yorker. And I was doing corporate work, real estate work, all kinds of contract work. And one of the attorneys there came up to me and said, I know you're looking for a permanent position. My boyfriend, that's what she said to me. She said, my boyfriend is an attorney in an immigration law, small immigration firm. She said, do you want an introduction? I said, okay, sure. I needed a job.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, I was practicing immigration law with a small father and son team in New York. And that was my introduction to immigration law. I really didn't know anything about it. And I focused on business immigration, representing small companies. And that's how I got started. And from there, I went to a medium-sized law firm and I worked there for over 13 years. And just recently, actually, this past March, I ended up at Vialto.
Yeah, our stories are almost identical. It's interesting how it all works out. There's so many stories just like this in immigration law. Either you're really into it in law school where you're like want to do asylum work, humanitarian work, and also you do business, or it's kind of you just randomly fall into it. Like, oh, this is the best area of practice there is. What luck that we fell
Did
into
you
it.
randomly fall into it also? Did you
Yeah, I
randomly
was
fall
same
into it?
situation. I got to 2009, and real estate was one of my paths. But at that point, the whole real estate
Okay.
industry collapsed. And then I
Right.
was hopping around, doc review, all this kind of stuff, working for bar regrading tests. And my dad's best friend from college, his wife was a paralegal for an attorney in the 80s. And he was looking for a person who could translate some Iranian documents because he had EB1A and EB5 cases, needed birth certificates, translates, and that. So I went to go even translate. And then I was like, I'm a lawyer. I could help you with this stuff. He's like, okay. And then I started working at his full solo practice. So same situation. What caused you to extent you feel comfortable talking about, but to leave that firm
Yeah.
to go to another firm? What was the transition? What were your goals and looking like that led you to make those changes, not stick with the same person?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's really interesting that both you and I come from a Middle Eastern background and we have obviously ties to other countries, and we didn't think about being immigration attorneys, even though immigration was part of our family stories, right? So that's really
Uh,
interesting. And then we ended up doing that. Um, as far as your question is concerned, I think it's important to change. I think it's important to do new things, and I think it's important to challenge yourself. I had been working with a a very reputable firm in based out of New York for over 13 years, and I just was in a place where I wanted to
well,
challenge
not that
myself.
firm.
I
From
wanted to do
the
something
initial
different,
position,
and I wanted to grow. And
from the initial small firm to the medium sized firm. What if you recall even it was so long ago. But what was that transition like? Because a lot of people are working for small firms and they're like they like it, but at the same time, working at a bigger firm has its own perks and brand and all that kind of stuff. What are some of the major stuff that caused you to change back then, like 13 years ago?
I think there's a lot of financial reasons, to be quite
Yeah,
honest. There's a lot better financial compensation when you're moving from a small firm with two other attorneys and you're moving to a firm that is bigger and has more attorneys. I also wanted to work with larger clients and I wanted to work with more people and learn. I think
yeah.
that one of the great things about working at a larger firm or even a medium-sized firm is that you get to work with people from so many different backgrounds and you can learn so much. So it was really about learning, advancing my career, and trying to challenge myself for sure.
I hear you. I hear you. Smaller firms have some sort of ceiling to them. So that's just there. So I feel you, especially when it's a family team you're working with.
Yeah,
They have their own systems
but
and everything.
I must say though, I'm very happy that I started off at such a small firm because I learned so much. I had to do so much of the administrative stuff and so much of the writing and so much of the form preparation myself. If I had started off at a bigger firm, I probably wouldn't have had to do all that hands-on those hands-on tasks.
Mhm.
So working at a small firm, I think definitely put me in a good place when I was able to make the jump to larger firms. It gave me skills that I learned that I don't know if I would have had otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. The
So I'm
well.
incredibly grateful to the opportunities that I got when I first started out.
So eventually you went to the bigger firm, and then recently you've switched. It's not that recent. How long have you been with Vialto now?
It's about a little bit more than 6 months.
Okay.
So I joined Vialto in March of 2023, and it's actually a really good story. I'm actually so Vialto, just to give everybody a brief history of Vialto. Vialto Partners was created out of the global mobility branch of PwC. So over a year ago, the
It just
entire
lawyers might
global
not know.
mobility
PwC is you could describe who they are and what.
Price Watercoopers House, Price Waterhouse Coopers, sorry. So they are a giant consulting organization, and their global mobility branch decided to spin off, and they became Vialto Partners. Vialto Partners is a global organization. We've got over 7,000 employees, I believe, all around the world. And the U.S. immigration practice was actually, until I joined Vialto, was based solely in Canada.
Hmm.
So it was all Canadian attorneys or American attorneys practicing in Canada who were doing US immigration law. In March of 2023, I was hired by a new company called Vialto Law US PLLC, which is a independent law firm that is focused on US immigration law. And I was actually the first hire with Vialto in the US. So we're part of a very large global organization, but we have a specific law firm in the United States that is dedicated to practicing US immigration law. Started off with me in March, and we have over 10 attorneys now in the US, and we have over 20 professionals in all. So we're growing pretty quickly.
How do you become the first recruit for a new business like that?
I think it's all because of, I want to say it's because of my reputation, my stellar reputation, but it has a lot to do with connections with, I used to work with an attorney with Vialto Partners in Vancouver.
Hmm.
Her name is Adina Whitlow. Shout out to Adina. And I'm good friends with her. And over the years, I kept in touch with her. And I made a connection through Adina. I got introduced to people at Vialto, and here we are.
Wonderful. Now, when I was talking to Angelo Paparelli during the summer at the AILA conference, you had some positions open. Is the hiring boom still happening, or is it on pause for
Oh
US?
yes, yes, we are definitely hiring. We're expanding our U.S. team in the U.S. The U.S. practice. We're looking for law clerks. We're looking for attorneys. So we have been hiring on a consistent basis. We're growing our team, and we're doing some pretty amazing things in the short time that the law firm in the U.S. has existed. So definitely, we're definitely looking.
Are there any location requirements or practice history stuff for those who want to reach out, like any prerequisites?
You know, we are definitely open to remote working. So we have great technology at Vialto. We're definitely open to working remotely. So looking for experienced attorneys all across the country. We have a number of attorneys in the Southern California area, Northern California, on the East Coast as well. So we are pretty much national at this point.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to note that, Vialto is not only doing U.S. immigration law. We're also working in all forms of global mobility, especially when it comes to tax, business travel, mobile strategy. So the organization of Vialto Partners is not just U.S. immigration, it's not just global immigration, it's also tax and compliance, and it's a really interesting organization.
Hmm. Very interesting. So yeah, you're going to be hearing that name a lot more and more. It's fascinating to see the growth that's happening. But on a day-to-day basis, what kind of cases do you handle yourself that you usually deal with?
Yeah, so I am exclusively working in business immigration, and I work with a number of different clients, whether it's medium-sized corporate clients or some really large clients. And I am working on all different kinds of business immigration matters, whether it's green card sponsorship, whether it's H-1Bs, or any O-1 extraordinary ability, a whole slew of things. Of course, with my experience level, I'm working on a lot of higher end type of organizational client relations matters, but I'm in the thick of it, and
So
that's
because of your client size that you have, so you really focus on just servicing that one client in different kinds of cases, as opposed to saying you're an EB1 attorney. You do because some firms like they'll have one lawyer do
right, right.
1,000 H1Bs. That's all they focus on.
Yeah, yeah. Lucky for me, I have a background that allowed me to practice in a number of different immigration areas. So non-immigrant visas, immigrant visas, I have been exposed to almost all of it, and I practice basically doing all of these different types of visa cases. So the good news is for me is that I have well, maybe good news and bad news. I have to work on a lot of different areas and advise on a lot of different types of cases on a daily basis. But I'm happy because I think I kind of would get bored if I was just doing one type of visa all day, every day. And then my colleagues at Vialto, both in Canada and in the U.S., are some of the best well-rounded U.S. immigration practitioners I've come in contact with. Really knowledgeable people doing some really incredible things, working with some really cool clients. So it's very exciting to be at Vialto right now.
So, in your position, how much percentage say are you working on casework with clients and stuff? How much is there administration stuff? Because they're administrative stuff because you're helping to build a company. Now you have HR. It's more developed you're not
Of
like a
course.
solo go big, but
Yeah, when it comes to administrative stuff, I would basically say that the administrative stuff we're talking about is business development, marketing, and also client relations. It's really important to, have good client relations and to be able to speak to the HR departments and the global mobility heads at the company and make sure that the program is being run properly. There's a lot more than just filing visas for
Mhm.
our clients. There's running an immigration program and making sure that protocols are put in place to make sure that people get sponsored, to make sure that cases are initiated. So we're definitely looking at the big picture when it comes to representing our clients. So I'm involved in big picture activities when it comes to client representation and also firm marketing and business development within Vialto.
So when it comes to organization of documents and stuff like that, you don't have to name the company. I actually prefer no name it. But did you create your own? Does Vialto have its own system, or is there like a
Yeah,
vendor that you use? And you don't have
Vialto
to name
has
the
a
vendor because we have
no,
sponsors, so I don't want to
Vialto
say them.
Vialto Partners has a proprietary system that we use when it comes to all of our case tracking. So we have an in-house team that has developed a really great platform. The technology at Vialto makes it easy for clients to share documents, for us to share documents with clients. It's we try to have a seamless integration with the client. Technology is really important. One of the reasons that Vialto separated from PwC is because of this investment in technology. A lot of capital has been placed in investing in technology of the company, and I think our clients are benefiting from that on a daily basis. And I think employees at Vialto themselves are benefiting from having such great technological abilities.
You know, it's fascinating. The big firms in the immigration space, they're doing two-front approach, which is having their own proprietary, like high-end system that they create, and also going global as fast as possible, creating the foreign branches and all that kind of stuff, and hiring. Um, that seems like the direction of immigration space. These two are like mandatory for all the other big firms.
Yeah, I mean, technology, it's all about technology and it's all about making the lives of our clients easier. And if we have a great document management system and we have a great database where we can pull up information and we can share information and we can draft forms, it's really important. It makes the practice of law and the practice of tax so much easier. So when you're at an organization that really prioritizes technology, it just makes your job easier because I can focus on being a lawyer, whereas sometimes there's so much administrative things that you have to do that it takes away from your ability to lawyer. So I'm really happy to be at a place that really values the technology.
Wonderful. And so, kind of one of the last questions, like, how does your next 6 months look? What is your goals for next summer for your professional development look like?
Yeah, I have a lot of goals. So number one, it's all about I'm really focused on the podcast and promoting the podcast and making immigration accessible to and interesting to everybody. So we're really working hard with the marketing team at Vialto to promoting the Celebrities on the Move podcast. So as far as marketing, that's a big priority for me. As far as, business development, we are involved in lots of RFPs, requests for proposals. We're meeting with potential clients all the time, and we're just trying to make, the world aware of who Vialto is and what kind of immigration services and tax services and just global mobility services in general we can provide. So a big focus for me for the next 6 months is to spread the word about Vialto and to, attract business. And at the same time, also make sure that the clients that we have now are serviced as with optimal efficiencies and just getting the best service that they can get. That's really important. While we're always trying to find new clients, it's really important that our existing clients always have the best service possible and they're happy with us. So there's a lot of different goals there.
Yeah, I mean, the big three is, marketing, client satisfaction, and then just, being better at what you do and learning all the nuances that go within the technology that comes with it. It's like a nonstop thing. When you want to get rich, they say like these kind of service businesses, though you can make good money, but you can't get real rich because it's so demanding to do this kind of work. You got to kind of get a product that just sells itself over and over again. When I study these big business gurus and like tech industry is so rich because they just make one Word document, they sell the software over and over again, or Excel or like Microsoft does. But with work we do, you got to manage caseload, keep hunting, get new stuff and do customer service and keep up on the law. It's tough being a lawyer, man. It's like
It's
it's never
tough. There's a lot of demands, especially when you get to a certain point in your career. It's not enough just to be a workhorse and do the work. There's demands to engage in business development,
ending.
to bring in clients, and of course personally you don't want to be doing the same thing. Or at least I don't want to be doing the same thing
Yeah.
every day. I like new challenges and I like to learn. And I'm working in an organization where I'm learning from great people, and it's been a wonderful place so far to learn and to collaborate. And I'm really looking forward to the future at Vialto Partners.
For sure. Even doing these RFP responses could be like fully, it's because there's so much competition nowadays. And then like the HRs or the companies can be, I'm not demanding in a bad way, but they want to make sure everything's up. It's just like it's a whole thing. I imagine you sometimes lose some sleep on it. Like, oh, we got to get this deal, or we'll kind of make it better, all this
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
well, RFPs have changed over the years. The type of information that's being requested now is different than the type of information that was requested even 5 or 10 years ago.
Interesting.
There's a lot more focus on diversity inclusion within companies, which is really important to Vialto. Diversity inclusion is really important to Vialto, and I think you know companies that are looking for partners to work with, they want to make sure that the companies they work with have these values. So when we go into RFPs, there's a lot of questions about diversity. There's a lot of questions about our workforce, and it's really interesting to see how things have shifted over the last several years about what it's not just now about doing great immigration work or doing great tax work. It's about what does your company value? What kind of people do you have at your company? These are all really important things, and I think that's great.
And one of the most interesting about immigration spaces is just like it's an open space for people from all over the world, languages and backgrounds. So it's got to be more diverse than any other background in law, I'm guessing, just because of the nature of the practice.
It's hard to imagine that it's a more diverse workforce than the immigration attorneys. I mean, it's amazing. There's people who have dual nationalities. There are people who are just, Americans or just Canadians who are practicing immigration. But I find a really, really interesting mix of people who are practicing immigration. It's a very diverse field, and it's a good field to be a part of.
For sure. I love it. You mentioned dual citizenship. I remember one of my colleagues right now who's in Israel. I'm like, I got to email him right now, see how he's doing. I forgot about him. But Shai, thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Could you mention your podcast again, what the name is? And I'm assuming it's going to be found wherever podcasts are found.
Yeah, of course. The podcast is called Celebrities on the Move, and you can download it wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple or Spotify. And we'd really appreciate if you gave it a listen. I think everybody out there will enjoy it. Again, it's funny, and you get to learn a little bit. And I also just want to, give my support to everybody in Israel and the Middle East who's been impacted by what's going on right now. My hopes are for peace and for security for everybody. We don't want to live
Really,
like this. Nobody does. So, yeah, just want to say,
I appreciate it.
supporting everybody out there.
If people want to reach out to you, is there a preferential website or email that you like to get contacted through?
You can check it out Vialto on the web, of course. It's vialtopartners.com. And yeah, just check it out. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's the best way to find me. It's Shai Dayan. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and it would be great to hear from you.
For sure, for sure. Thanks so much. Stay on the line real quick when we say goodbye. But thanks. It was a good interview and contact Vialto Partners and they're hiring. So you get some
Yeah, it was really.
exposure to
I
a great
really,
company.
yeah. Thank you,
I
John. I really
appreciate it,
appreciate it.
Shai.
It was great to talk to you.
Thanks so much. Same here. Have you ever felt that the road to establishing a successful immigration law firm is riddled with unexpected obstacles and setbacks? I've been there, and I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. Picture this. My wife, then girlfriend, and I had just landed for a vacation only to be greeted by a voicemail that changed everything. In an instant, once the plane landed, she lost her job. The very one job that was supposed to support us while I launched my own solo immigration law firm. Suddenly, our financial cushion vanished, and I was thrust into the high-stakes world of entrepreneurship with no safety net. Despite a slow start and a discouraging lack of leads and referrals, I remained determined to build a law firm that provided a 5-star client experience. After countless hours spent researching, watching, and implementing marketing strategies with mixed results, I eventually began to see my firm's revenues not only surpass my previous revenue and salary as an associate, but double it. Today, I run a successful law firm with a team of associates and support staff, and I'm the proud founder of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine, podcasts, courses, workshops, and more. But my journey wasn't easy. I made many mistakes, wasted time and money, and wished I had a mentor to guide me through the challenges. Although I was fortunate enough to find a few peers who offered support, I couldn't shake the feeling that there had to be a better way. That's why I decided to be the change I'd wish I'd seen. This month, I'm thrilled to announce the launch of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox private mentorship and peer group. This exclusive group is designed to bring solo and small firm practitioners in a monthly, private, and intimate setting to openly discuss business strategies, share successes, even exchange invaluable tactics that they wouldn't share anywhere else. By joining this premium group, you'll not only benefit from my hard-earned expertise, but also forging long-lasting relationships with like-minded professionals who are committed to elevating their practices. Space is limited for this game-changing opportunity. If you're ready to make a real, lasting impact on your business, simply email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Again, that's info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. And I'll send you all the information you need to get started. Don't miss this chance to transform your immigration law firm and reach new heights of success.